Hello everyone, my name is Natalie. Welcome to my channel. If we are looking at Bitcoin on the 4-hour, we can see that we do have this respected area at 46966. And why is it a respected area? Well, you can see that we did bounce off of this level a couple of times. We did have it as a support turning into resistance, and we just might maintain this one and have it still as a support. If it's breaking to the upside, obviously we want to see how it looks on the lower time frames for us to be able to see where we can potentially buy the market. But if Bitcoin doesn't hold this as a support, we just might see it as a new resistance. As always, I am no financial advisor, so please, you need to look everything up yourself first. Please continue watching this video, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I see on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Starting off with Ethereum today, let's see how it looks on the weekly, because that's obviously something that we need to look at right now. Well, we did have, the week before, we did have this huge candle to the downside, and now we are ending the week with a little doji right here. If we're going down to the lower time frames, we can still see that we're making high lows. You have a high low, high low, high low, high low. We haven't broken the uptrend yet because the previous high low is here. So for us to see a continuation to the downside, obviously the market needs to break this high low that we do have here and then continue to the downside. It can obviously do that because we did have this huge candle to the downside a week before, but we definitely have to wait and see a couple of hours exactly what's going to happen. We do have this huge bearish candle to the downside, but if we're going down to the lower time frames, we're looking at the 4-hour. We are right now at an area where it's a previous resistance if we're looking at the line chart like this. So that's where we are right now. So what we need to do now is that we need to wait and see if the market will break this little box that I just put up right here. So it just might continue to the downside, come back up again, retest it, and then it might just continue to the downside. But obviously I do have this trend line right here too that I did put up on the daily, just to make sure that we are aware of these high lows that are maintaining. As you know, I always use the Fibonacci, and I did take it on the daily right now, and I'm using it from 3204 to the high 3620, and we just broke the Fibonacci levels right here. If we're going down to the lower time frames on the 4 again, we still see that this is a support right now. It has been it for a couple of hours. And 1, 2, 3, 4, for a couple of hours. So potentially what the market can do, if we want to see movement to the upside and be sure to buy the market, obviously we need to break this previous lower high that we did have here, and it might just come back up and come down and retest it because it's a previous high, lower high. Usually the higher lows are retesting the previous lower highs. Hope it makes sense. But it can also come back down again because this is also a lower high because it's lower than the previous lower high. So the market can come back down again to the Fibonacci levels that I'm already having, and then we can potentially see it working itself up again. Combining that with the lower time frames as always. Oops. We can take the Fibonacci and copy and paste it. And I want to copy and paste this one too, so I can see what we're working with. So yeah, obviously, well, if we want the market to go to the upside, obviously we want this support right here to maintain, but it can also break it, and after that we just have to wait and see how the candlesticks on the high time frames are formed. The best thing for us, if we want to see the market to continue to the upside, we would want a bullish candlestick that engulfs these candlesticks. We can actually see that the market is having movement to the upside. So on the lower time frames, obviously it has to break these lower highs that we do have here, come back down again and retest it. And if you want to use Fibonacci on the lower time frames, I want to see a bigger movement on the lower time frames to the upside for me to see where I can put my Fibonacci levels. Because right now on Ethereum we're still in this downtrend that we can see on the higher time frames. So just as I told you before, we needed to break the previous lower high, this lower high, and come back down and eventually retest either this one or this one, this lower high. But definitely we need to wait and see. But we are at the bottom of a support right now, and you can see that we did have it as a resistance before, so that the market is actually reacting to it right now. It's pretty good. So if we're seeing movements to the upside, because in the overall picture we are in a uptrend, so I'm obviously looking for buy opportunities. And this is, you know, I have to wait and see where I can find my entries. I can buy the market right now if I want to, but that's more gambling for me. I do want to see it breaking the lower time frames downtrend before, so I actually have my confirmations before I'm jumping into the market. On the higher time frames, I'm combining that we are actually at a previous resistance turning into a support. We do reject it. We are in a downtrend on the 4 hour, but we're also in this, as I told you, we are at this support right here, and also break this support that we do have and turn it into a resistance one more time, and then continues back down again, because we can also see that we do have a previous support right here that it can come back down to and retest again. If it breaks to the downside, we can also see that we can have a head shoulder formation. It can come back down here again and retest this previous high that we do have here, the previous resistance turning into support. So that's also something that can happen. So right now we are at the moment where we actually need to wait. We need a bigger movement to the upside if I want to see potential buy opportunities. And if it comes back down here, it will also retest the 61% on 3361. But I am very aware of this huge candle to the downside that we did have, but remember that we also did close in this zone right here. So if it's breaking the support turning into resistance, obviously I need to see how the market reacts to it. And on the lower time frames, it's gonna look like this. It's also the same on Bitcoin. Looking at the higher time frames, we can look at the daily. And we could see, all right, now we're just moving to this, we're just moving sideways. We never broke, we had this little downtrend, came back up, we made a new high, came back down, and we are respecting the previous high low, this low right here. We have this huge candle to the downside. So obviously right now we need to wait and see if it's going to respect the support that we do have here. Combining that with the lower time frames, also we need to see movements to the upside and come back down and retest it. Depending on how the candlestick looks on the higher time frames, I'm trying to find my buy opportunities, obviously on the higher lows that will be formed. And hopefully it will retest the previous resistance turning into a support. But we can also see if the market breaks to the downside, comes back up and continues down a little bit more. But right now we are in this respected area, and respected area I mean that we've been here for a couple of times. Looking at the line chart, if the market comes back down here and retest, we can see that we have been here before for a couple of times. So it's definitely going to be an area where the market's going to react to, but if it's breaking it, I don't know yet. That's something that we do have to wait and see. As always, we just have to wait and see. What I can do is that I can put an alert. So if I want the market to break this lower high that we do have, I can put an alert on TradingView and I wanted to give me an alert if they're moving to the upside, or an alert if it's moving to the downside. So if the market, whatever the market is doing, if the market when the market breaks this zone, 477112, the market, I'll have a notification to my phone, or if it breaks 47137, I have a notification to my phone also, but if it's breaking to the downside. So either way, it's gonna break to one of the to the upside or to the downside. I'm waiting right now for it to break to the upside or to the downside, because right now it can definitely do one another. So I'm not sure yet. It can look like this, or it can come back down and retest it. So that's why it's so good to have these alerts, because that's how I can see what the market is actually doing. So I always need to follow price. Always. I still have in mind that we are in a uptrend. But I do recommend to have these alerts, so instead of always looking at the charts, that's how you can do it. And you can have it as an alarm to your mobile phone. And this is also it could be a very ugly Head and Shoulders. You see? This looks so good, as always, when I'm painting on TradingView. Looking at the 2-day, we did break this previous. We did have your high, low, high, low, because we broke this previous high, low. Came back up, so if it's retesting it as a lower high, that's something that we do have to wait and see. So if this resistance, a support, if 46990 is maintaining, we can continue to see movements to the upside. If it's breaking it, well, we could definitely see the market continues back down a little bit. This is what I see on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I hope you understood what I was talking about. If there's something you're wondering, please ask me in the comments below. Please give it a thumbs up, and we'll see each other tomorrow.